Mimi Kennedy, the actress, star of Moms, drops by the program and tells people in Los Angeles County, 4.5 million voters, about the new system. Well, I'll leave it at that. You can check it out on the other side of this. Leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. Welcome back. It's such a pleasure to have my old friend and a genuine star, Mimi Kennedy, the actress, activist, writer, board chair, Progressive Democrats of America, star of the hit series Mom on CBS. PDAmerica.org is the website for Progressive Democrats of America, and her Twitter handle is Mimi Kennedy LA. Mimi, welcome back.
It's great to be here, Tom, and we're going to see you in L.A. tomorrow, so
yes,
that's great.
I am looking forward to it. I am so looking forward to it. So California is experimenting, maybe that's not the right word. California is using a new system to mark...
L.A. County.
Oh, it's just L.A. County?
L.A. County.
Okay, great. Yep. Thank you. Yeah, I should just turn this whole thing over to you. I'm sorry?
I was going to say we're 4.5 million voters. You know, compared to Nevada, the whole voting people there are like 1.5 million. We got 4.5 million voters that are going to be using a brand new system in L.A. County. We're bigger than 39 states in terms of how many voters. Just one county, just L.A. County. Amazing.
So what do people need to know if they live in Los Angeles and they're going to be encountering this new voting system going forward?
Well, first of all, I want to say it's controversial, especially your listeners know it, because it uses a lot of technology. And I was part of the panel that established the principles for it, and I insisted paper ballot at a time when this was some years ago, people were like, no, we're going to vote on our phones and our iPads. And I went, So we do have a paper ballot, but it's made by a touch screen. So people think we're voting on touch screens and it's counting internally. It's not. The touch screen helps you make your paper ballot in 13 languages, and you can go to any vote center in the county for 11 days. I mean, you used to have to find one place on one day and get there, and it can take 2 hours in LA traffic to get to people who had jobs often couldn't vote in person. Now you can for 11 days. That's the good news.
That's great.
It's cutting down on provisional voting. But there is some sticky news that I want to address. Hand-marked paper ballots are available on our system through vote by mail. And if that's what you want to do, you need to call before February 18th midnight. Operators are standing by, and you can get a hand-markable paper ballot, including that nasty little no party preference. If you don't want to join a political party, but say you want to vote in the Democratic primary, you've gotten a mail ballot that says NPP, no presidential contest in it because you're not in a party. You can forget about that ballot and request another one, Democratic crossover, if you want to vote, for instance, for Bernie. So there's that by February 18th. And you look at lavote.net to find that number. Hand marking a paper ballot at the vote center has to be available in case everything goes south. But here's the bad news about that. You have to make up your own contests as well as know who you want to vote for. And there's 12 judges. There's your congressman. There's your city council person. There's school board. There's all kinds of local contests that need progressives in them. And if you're just going to vote in the presidential primary to hand mark it, you're going to miss all those progressives locally. So that's a not good thing on local democracy. Your sample ballot, which you can get at the lavote.net, will tell you all those races, and you'll have to write them out by hand. So I don't recommend using that an absentee ballot at the polls. I recommend getting your vote by mail ballot if you want to hand mark, and you got until February 18th to do it. And if you're an NPP voter,
I understand that one of the actually really good things about this system, because basically it's just you're making choices, pushing a button, and it prints out a ballot. Now the ballot does have a QR code on it, which has got some people suspicious. That's what the machine actually reads. But on the other hand, these machines are actually owned and run by by LA County. They're not owned by Diebold or ES&S with the Eurosevich brothers who believe that the world is going to end if the Christians don't do what they've got to do. I mean, seriously, the biggest voting machine company in America was owned by a couple of millennial end-time, Christian fundamentalist guys.
They changed their name to Dominion. And people who know the history of this doomsday scenario religiously know that Dominion was what the political part of this movement wanted.
Right.
Dominion.
Right.
And
So
that's the name of the voting
LA
company.
County has said no. We're not going to play in that sandbox. We're gonna have our own machines that we own, that we program, that we can make sure are clean, that politicians from all parties can look at, and complete transparency. Do I have that right?
And it creates a paper ballot.
Right.
And that paper ballot is counted on a scanner. The way our paper ballots are now, they're scanned. Those scanners make ballot images. John Brakey's been fighting for that for years. And the ballot image file could be made public, and we could presumably count the votes again redundantly as public people.
Yeah.
There are many aspects to this technology that need citizen observation and close observation, and it all starts with a sign-in that's on an electronic poll book. So, hello. I am hoping that cybersecurity, and that's Alex Padilla, our Secretary of State, he better have it locked down real good. But we do have a paper ballot. And if we hand counted all those paper ballots, as long as those voters verify them, that's good. And if you want to hand mark it and have all your selections possible and just fill in an oval, you've got to get your mail ballot and do it. But our tally system.
So Mimi, I wanted to talk about provisional ballots just very briefly. It's kind of a tangent to all this, but in my research for this new book, The Hidden History of the War on Voting, what I found is that the provisional ballots were essentially created in 2002, at least in their current incarnation, as a part of the Help America Vote Act. And the idea was, even if you're not on the voting rolls, if you show up and you want to vote, you should be given a ballot. But in red states, the provisional ballots are never even opened, much less counted. I mean, after 2004, John Edwards on this program was ranting about the fact that there were tens of thousands more unopened provisional ballots in Ohio than the margin of victory that George Bush claimed over John Kerry. And in many of those red states, if you are given a provisional ballot, you have a week, it varies from state to state, 2 days to 5 days, whatever it may be, to show up at the Secretary of State's office and prove you are who you are, show them your driver's license and birth certificate and marriage license and everything else. And people just don't do that. And so their votes literally don't ever get counted. But there are some blue states that use provisional ballots for things where, somebody shows up in the wrong precinct or, but they are a registered voter, they are legitimate. That's
true.
And so they do get counted. So in California, I understand provisional ballots usually actually do get counted. Is that right?
That is right. But there was a big fraud hole in that provisionals were counted last. And if a mail ballot came in your name, that was counted first. So there was a big mail possibility of fraud by beating these provisional voters to the count. That's gone under LA's new system, and that's the best part about our new system. That is gone. The only provisional ballot will be if somebody found your missing mail ballot, sent it in real early, and you get to a vote center and want to vote, and they go, we already have a mail ballot in your name at the registrars. It's been processed. It won't be counted until 8 p.m. It's illegal to count before 8 p.m. on election night. All polls closed. But you process ballots, you signature match, and they become anonymous. They leave they're getting ready to count. If you have a mail ballot that's been done to, you have to vote for provisional now. But that is going to be very rare. And the reason they're doing that is because they want to see if there is that kind of fraud going on with mail theft and forgery of signatures. They want to find out.
Right, which has happened. I mean, we saw this in one of the Carolinas, where the guy was going around and buying ballots from people for $5, and there was a scandal about that in the UK about 5 years ago. But it's rare, but it does happen.
It's rare.
Mimi Kennedy, Mimi, where can people get more information about this if they want to follow up on it?
LAVote.net, and I have an article up at LA Progressive, all one word. LAProgressive.net is my article. LAVote.net is the register's website for everything that you need to find.
Thank you. It's LAProgressive.com, actually. And because I've got the article.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. Mimi Kennedy. Mimi Kennedy, PDAmerica.org. Thank you, Mimi.